I'm just kidding. No, thank you, though. Good morning. Thanks for joining us for this Eyewitness News special report on this Saturday. Drag Queen Story Hour at North Park Library has taken a brief break just a few minutes ago in order to speak with the media. This event was initially scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. and go for around 1 hour, but due to the overwhelming response from the community, it looks like this event will be going into the afternoon with additional sessions now planned at the North Park Library in Evansville. So in order to make more room for people inside, the media has been asked to leave the room, and that's where we find our reporter Amelia Young. She has been inside this event for the last hour or so, but she's recently stepped out in order to give us a live report on exactly what it's been like inside the North Park Library for the last hour or so. Amelia, that event looks like it went just about as well as it could have, and it looks like there was a big turnout. Plenty of people interested in hearing from the performer Florentine Dawn during this Drag Queen Story Hour.
They got a lot more response than they were actually, thinking. You mentioned they were supposed to go from 10 to 11 with one session, and they, after just a little bit of time, they added 2 more, and then they added 1 onto that. So now they're having a total of 4 sessions. We were inside for the first 2, but then, like you said, we're asked to leave for the last 2 just to make sure there was enough room for family inside all those. We actually got some official numbers just a little bit ago. They said overall there will have been around 276 kids and parents who attended the event, and there are at least outside over 150 people at the last count, which was probably about 30 minutes ago, still waiting to get inside, and they won't be able to get inside at this point. But the total for the turnout was around 432 people, and again, that was a number a while ago, so some people may still be coming up to the door trying to get in, but they only extended the sessions to 4, but that is way more than they were expecting. We just heard from the CEO of Evansville Vanderbilt Public Library, Cindy Landrum, just a bit ago, and she said that she has firmly stood behind her decision to hold this event along with other staff members and is proud of the turnout for this. She was excited to see the diversity outside of protesters and supporters, and said not only is this event teaching diversity, it's also teaching civil engagement. And we also heard from Florentine Dawn, the storyteller, just a bit ago, and she said there was never a doubt in her mind that she wanted to participate in this. She volunteered for it and stuck with her decision, and was so proud to be here with the kids today. And I think we're going to hear a little bit of what she had to say from some special memories from one of the first 2 sessions.
They have definitely said thank you. I actually had one person come up to me that knew my drag mother and said she would have been proud of me. But a lot of kids, I had one little boy come up to me and said that it's okay to be wherever you want to be. So I was very happy to see that all the T-shirts with rainbows on them and hearts and dinosaurs and fairies and all that. It was very exciting to see all that.
Really? This is the best thing you had to do today, Karen?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what you can hear from outside right now, but there are still a lot of protesters and supporters out here outside of the library. There has been a large crowd since way before the event started this morning. People against the windows, people shouting just kind of their opinions. And again, this is something that the Evansville Vanderbilt Public Library CEO, Cindy Landrum, said she was excited to see just all of the different people out here sharing their opinions, sharing what this event means to them. Kind of right now, the 3rd session is underway, and then the 4th session will be right after that. But the library, again, has said they are very proud of the turnout for this event. And of course, we'll bring you the full story tonight on Eyewitness News. Back to you, Jake.
Amelia, if you can still hear me, I'd like to ask you a question about this event. You've been inside for the last hour or so, and you can see behind you there people peeking through the window. I assume that's the room where this event has been taking place. With you being inside in those first 2 sessions, were there any disturbances? Did things go about as planned for the performer and for the crowd inside there?
You're kind of breaking out there, Jake. I heard about 1 of every 3 words that you were saying.
Okay, I'll try to be a little more brief. Amelia, did everything go okay? Were there disturbances or any protests from outside of that room as you guys were watching the performance inside?
I think I understand what you're asking. Well, from inside the room, we weren't able to hear if you're talking about, the protesters that have been standing outside with microphones. We weren't able to hear that during the story time, which a lot of the kids and staff were actually surprised that you couldn't hear a lot of the loud noises that were happening outside. I hope that's what you're asking, because that's what I heard from my ear.
Okay, Amelia, thanks for answering our questions, and obviously a loud scene there. You've been covering that throughout the morning. Let's move along. This event has seen a number of protests leading up to today, and as Amelia is kind of showing us there, today those protesters are making their opinions known once again, some of them with the aid of some megaphones. The Vanderburgh County Council, County Commission, and EBSC all have had different protesters at their board meetings leading up to the event. Many of those same people and many new people have showed up to protest the event today. That's where we find our reporter, Tyler Druid. Tyler, you've been outside for the last couple hours or so, and protesters have been there since well before this event started. So as of now, have the protests continued to stay strong? I know some people are there in support of this event as well, standing outside with you.
Protesters actually were here earlier than that. We did have a crew, as you just heard from Amelia. She was here at about 8:30 this morning. So we talked to Evansville Police Captain Chandler. He told us that 26 uniformed officers are out here today to provide security. He also said that plainclothes officers are mixed in with protesters and supporters to provide intel, if you will. Also, they've got the mounted patrol out here as well to provide a safe scene for everybody. Now, Captain Chandler told us that there were no arrests made and everything has been peaceful. They did have to ask some of the people that were not in support of Drag Queen Story Hour to essentially just watch their language. But other than that, everything out here has seemed to be peaceful, if you will. Now, I spoke to a reverend that was in support of Drag Queen Story Hour. He says that he loves everyone and everyone should love everyone. A lot of people out here are in support of Drag Queen Story Hour. Now, Evansville Police tell me that more people are here than expected. I am going to estimate 400 or more people. They just took the last group in. As you know, it started out as 3 25-minute groups. Now it's 4 25-minute groups. The line was wrapped around the sidewalk, and people made it in with their children. I've talked to parents. The parents want their kids to be exposed to open-mindedness, if you will. I talked to a woman running for 5th Ward Council. Her name is Jennifer Yeazer, and she is in full support of Drag Queen Story Hour and believes that everyone in the Evansville community should be open-minded, and that E stands for everyone, and that is her message for her constituents that she wants, I guess, to vote for her in the upcoming election. Now, with that being said, it looks like the crowds are starting to die down. There is I'd say about 100 people still out here. As you can see live on your picture here, the people with the megaphones, obviously they've been out here all day and want their voice to be heard. Again, Evansville Police haven't made any arrests. They said everything has been very peaceful and has been planned out well. We talked to a drag queen. And he says that he loves everybody and he wants everyone to get along. Now, we're unsure if Evansville Public Library plans to do another Drag Queen Story Hour. I guess that's still up in the air. But for now, Jake, I'll send it back to you and in the studio.
Yeah, Tyler, if you can still hear me, I'd like to ask you, for the people who have come out to protest, I know you've spoken to, it seems like more than a dozen throughout this last hour or two. Have you asked them their motivation as to why they had to come out and protest and made the choice to come out this morning to have their voices heard?
I love.
Jake, I'm having a hard time hearing you, to be honest, in my IFB with all of the background noise back here. But, like I said, the protesters just want their voice to be heard. I will say that there was more supporters by the eye than people that are not in support of Drag Queen Story Hour. I feel like I said, I would estimate 450 people out here. The vast majority of those people in support of Drag Queen Story Hour.
Okay, Tyler Druin reporting live from the scene there outside of the North Park Library. Tyler, thanks for that report. We know you'll have more for us later this afternoon. Let's recap exactly what's happened over the last few hours or so. Around 10 a.m. is whenever this Drag Queen Story Hour began at the Evansville North Park Library. Initially, this event was supposed to be 1 hour. Instead, because of the amount of people who've decided to participate and listen to the performer Owen Jackson today in character as Florentine Dawn, they've decided to break this up into 4 25-minute sessions. So this hour has been broken up into about 2 hours now. We've seen a number of people showing up to protest and support outside of the library. The library's policy says that if you're not on the grounds for library business, you have to stand about 10 feet away from the building. Some private police officers have been hired to man security for this event. And so far, as Tyler has reported to us, things have been cordial for the most part, except for a few reminders for people to watch their language. We know 156 people have still been trying to get into this event, the line at times wrapping close to around the building. The last session of those 4 sessions has just begun. We know that cameras have now been taken out of the room to allow more people inside this room. And one of the breaks in between these sessions, Amelia Young, our reporter, was able to ask a few questions to the CEO of the Evansville Vandenberg Public Library, Cindy Landrum, as to how she feels this event has gone and why she feels this event is so important. And here was her answer to that question.
This is an act of civic engagement, and civic engagement is really important. So in addition to teaching this idea of diversity and inclusion and equitable services, I think it's also a lesson as a community around civic engagement. And civic engagement is important. If there are things in your community that you may or may not agree with, or you don't like, or you want to create change, that even people who may not be for this particular event are exercising their right to express that in the way that they see appropriate. And I think for the most part, they've been very, very peaceful, and they've expressed their opinions in ways that are, valid and I think get their point across.
So that was Cindy Landrum, the CEO of the Evansville Vandenberg Public Library. We're taking another live look outside of the North Park branch location. You can see a number of people there in support of the event. There have also been protesters over the last couple hours or so. We do have video inside this event as well of the performer Florentine Dawn reading to those children over the last couple hours. Initially, as she entered the room in character, Owen Jackson, the male performer, dressed in drag, then entered the room and began with some singing, some dancing to the Hokey Pokey, and then sat down and read 3 different children's books to the crowd there. Each child who is at this event has mandatorily been asked to be chaperoned, or rather brought in with a parent. So the Evansville Public Library has asked, and that was something that was made clear earlier in this week, that each child has to be with a parent. It looks like for the most part, that is what happened today. So the performer Florentine Dawn wrapping up the 4th session of this Drag Queen Story Hour, the first held at the Evansville Vandenberg Public Library. You can see that area going into the front door there has started to lose some people next to those cones. Now, on each side of those cones, about an hour or so ago, there were a number of protesters and people in support, much more full than it is now. You can see some parents and their children leaving that event. It looked like one child there may have even fallen asleep. So this event looks to be wrapping up for the most part. We are giving you a live look here on our Facebook page, some holding signs in support, others holding signs in protest. The Evansville Public Library hosting this event at 10 a.m. today. It looks to be wrapping up here at this hour. We've brought you this live on Facebook. We'll also be bringing you more coverage of this event. Everyone hoping to have their voice heard, both in protest of this event and also in support of this event. Speaking to our reporters who were live there at the North Branch Library today. You'll hear from them tonight on later editions of Eyewitness News. We thank you so much for watching us here during this Eyewitness News special report on this Saturday morning. Have a great weekend.